Good morning. This is the Paradise Unicorn Priestess bringing you day 242 of A Course in Miracles, the Yin translation where we use female words. This would be August 30th if you're starting at the new year. The closing of the gap. There is no time, no place, no state where God is absent. There is nothing to be feared. There is no way in which a gap could be conceived of in the wholeness that is hers. The compromise the least and littlest gap would represent in her eternal love is quite impossible, for it would mean her love could harbor just a hint of hate, her gentleness turn sometimes to attack, and her eternal patience sometimes fail. All this you do believe when you perceive a gap between your sister and yourself. How could you trust her then? For she must be deceptive in her love. Be wary then, let her not come too close and leave a gap between you and her love, through which you can escape if there be need for you to flee. Here is the fear of God most plainly seen. For love is treacherous to those who fear, since fear and hate can never be apart. No one who hates but is afraid of love, and therefore must she be afraid of God. Certain it is, she knows not what love means. She fears to love, and loves to hate, and so she thinks that love is fearful, hate is love. This is the consequence the little gap must bring to those who cherish it, and think that it is their salvation and their hope. The fear of God, the greatest obstacle that peace must flow across, has not yet gone. The rest are past, but this one still remains to block your path and make the way to light seem dark and fearful, perilous and bleak. You had decided that your sister is your enemy, sometimes a friend perhaps, provided that your separate interests made your friendship possible a little while. But not without a gap perceived between you and her, lest she turn again into an enemy. Let her come close to you, and you jumped back. As you approached, did she but instantly withdraw. A cautious friendship, and limited in scope and carefully restricted in amount, became the treaty that you had made with her. Thus you and your sister but shared a qualified entente, in which a clause of separation was a point you both agreed to keep intact, and violating this was thought to be a breach of treaty not to be allowed. The gap between you and your sister is not one of space between two separate bodies, and this but seems to be dividing off your separate minds. It is the symbol of a promise made to meet when you prefer and separate till you and she elect to meet again. And then your bodies seem to get in touch, and thereby signify a meeting place to join. But always is it possible for you and her to go your separate ways. Conditional upon the right to separate, will you and she agree to meet from time to time and keep apart in intervals of separation, which do protect you from the sacrifice of love. The body saves you, for it gets away from total sacrifice and gives to you the time in which to build again your separate self, which you truly believe diminishes as you and your sister meet. The body could not separate your mind from your sister's unless you wanted it to be a cause of separation and of distance between you and her. Thus do you endow it with a power that lies not within itself. And herein lies its power over you, for now you think that it determines when you and your sister meet, and limits your ability to make communion with your sister's mind. And now it tells you where to go and how to go there, what is feasible for you to undertake and what you cannot do. It dictates what its health can tolerate and what will tire it and make it sick, and its inherent weaknesses set up the limitations on what you would do and keep your purpose limited and weak. The body will accommodate to this, if you would have it so. It will allow but limited indulgences in love, with intervals of hatred in between. And it will take command of when to love and when to shrink more safely into fear. It will be sick because you do not know what loving means, and so you must misuse each circumstance and everyone you meet, and see in them a purpose not your own. It is not love that asks a sacrifice, but fear demands the sacrifice of love. For in love's presence fear cannot abide. For hate to be maintained, love must be feared, and only sometimes present, sometimes gone. Thus is love seen as treacherous, because it seems to come and go uncertainly, and offer no stability to you. You do not see how limited and weak is your allegiance, and how frequently you have demanded that love go away and leave you quietly alone in peace. The body, innocent of goals, is your excuse for variable goals you hold, and force the body to maintain. You do not fear its weakness, but its lack of strength or weakness. Would you know that nothing stands between you and your sister? Would you know there is no gap behind which you can hide? There is a shock that comes to those who learn their Savior is their enemy no more. There is a wariness that is aroused by learning that the body is not real. And there are overtones of seeming fear around the happy message, God is love. Yet all that happens when the gap is gone is peace eternal. Nothing more than that, and nothing less. Without the fear of God, what could induce you to abandon her? What toys or trinkets in the gap could serve to hold you back an instant from her love? Would you allow the body to say no to heaven's calling? Were you not afraid to find a loss of self in finding God? Yet can yourself be lost by being found? Today's text reading reminds me of an episode of Adventure Time, a zany, silly, and often profoundly deep and sometimes disturbing cartoon that I watched with my youngest. In the episode Bimo Lost, the character Bimo, who is the very embodiment of innocence, who appears to be an ancient VHS screen that also plays games in this post-apocalyptic world, a piece of ancient technology that now has a sort of AI soul. This character gets lost and despairs of returning home, and in being lost encounters a new friend, a bubble. And the bubble also feels lost and despairs of ever finding home again. On their adventure, they become very close, and together they find their way back to Bimo's home. And upon arriving, Bimo's well-meaning friends see the bubble and pop it. This right after the bubble has proposed marriage to Bimo, although saying, I don't even know what that means. It's all so cute and innocent. Anyway, Bimo's devastated. It seems like their new best friend has been annihilated and is no more. But then there is a voice that comes to Bimo that only Bimo can hear and says, I'm still here. I'm air now. I've forgotten. That's who I always was. This is my true self. Now we can be together forever. Any room you enter, I'll already be there. There'll be no more privacy. You'll never be alone again. I'll always see and hear everything you do. And as Air is saying this, it kind of looks like Bimo has a look of horror on their face because, well, most of us would find that kind of horrific. For there to be no gap between us and another, none at all, like absolutely none, as the air that fits around our body seems to leave no gap. But then the moment Air has finished saying this, Bimo lets out a jubilant, yay! And the episode immediately ends. A Course in Miracles tells us that there is no gap between us and any part of the creation. We are entertaining an illusion that it is possible, and the body facilitates this illusion. It seems that we meet up with others that are in bodies, and then we go our separate ways. And as an introvert myself, I feel a little called out. I definitely feel myself losing my sense of self when I'm around others, and I find great peace and serenity and sanctuary in being able to go my separate way and be alone again. I'm just retreating into an illusion. There is no separation between me and any part of the creation. And when me and someone else who seems to be in a body go their separate ways, Our thoughts are still touching. We just don't realize it a lot of the time. It may be that in between being incarnated, when we are no longer seeming to be trapped or locked inside of a physical body, maybe we are very much aware that there is no gap between us and our other selves. Who knows, maybe that gets to be uncomfortable at some point and is one of the reasons why we return to this illusion of deeper separation. I don't know. But perhaps also an important thing for us to remember is that the thing that we are joined with is the shard of God that lies at the center of our sister, of the illusion. We're not joining with the exterior, projected, noisy, chaotic illusion parts of our sister. In fact, salvation is denying that those things mean anything or have existence at all, and instead joining with the very quiet, peaceful spark of the divine that is at the core of her. It seems clear that in order for us to truly enjoy salvation, we have to be happy about this. We have to fully embrace that this is the case and that there's no harm in it. There's no danger there. The only reason why we seem to experience an illusion where that danger is possible is because we are holding ourselves at arm's length from the other parts of the creation, trying to maintain the gap. It's in that gap that here there be dragons, as was said on the old maps in the space of unknown territory. Here there be dragons in the space between us and our other selves. Some time ago in A Course in Miracles, we talked about the obstacles that peace must flow across, and the last of all, the great end boss of all the obstacles, is the fear of God, and this text reading today reiterates that. Utterly terrifying, this fear of God, the most fearful of all the fears, the thing that most gets in the way of peace. And that fear appears in every little gap that we perceive between us and any other part of the creation. This fear cannot be undone until forgiveness has filled all those gaps with trust, with open-mindedness, with willingness not to see monsters and dragons in the gap. All right, after reviewing the open-ended question and passage, what is the world, that's in the show notes, we go on to lesson 242. This day is God's. It is my gift to her. I will not lead my life alone today. I do not understand the world, and so to try to lead my life alone must be but foolishness. But there is one who knows all that is best for me, and she is glad to make no choices for me but the ones that lead to God. I give this day to her, for I would not delay my coming home, and it is she who knows the way to God. And so we give today to you. We come with wholly open minds. We do not ask for anything that we may think we want. Give us what you would have received by us. You know all our desires and our wants, and you will give us everything we need in helping us to find the way to you. A beautiful compliment to the idea of there being no gap, to not even entertain the idea of being alone. All that surrounds us is the rest of ourself, and together, complete, we are God. May we open to that this day, and happy practicing.